Today I'll be working on this basic antler mount you see to the right. Now I didn't want to spend the hours and hours it takes to make a good quality European skull mount, but I did want to preserve the memory of these antlers. So I decided to go ahead and go with just a basic antler mount, just a cut behind the antlers and in front, and you can save yourself a lot of time while preserving your hunting memory. So this is what the basic antler mount looks like. Now I've maybe cut a handful of these, and at no time was each cut on the exact same spot. Cuts may vary. Now obviously if you want more skull, you're going to want to cut a little bit lower. If you want less skull, then cut a little bit higher, and the same for the back. If you want a lot more skull, cut a little bit higher, and if you want less skull, then just go ahead and cut a little bit lower to the antlers. This is a look at the underside of the antler mount. Now no two cuts are the same, so depending on how you plan on displaying your antler mount, if you want it to sit nice and flat on a flat surface, you may have to use the steel grinder and just grind a little bit of the skull here to get it to sit just right on a flat surface. The first cut's going to be just above the eye sockets and just below the antlers. Depending on how much skull you want, it will be anywhere in this area. Also, an electric saw or a reciprocating saw will work much better, but if you just have a hand saw, that'll work fine as well. The second cut will be just behind the antlers, right above the ears. You may do well in trimming the ears off to give you a better workspace. From my experience, one of the best tips I can give, whether you're doing a European skull mount or just a basic antler mount, you'll want to remove as much of the hair, hide, meat, and inner matter as you can. You don't have to, but it will save you a ton of time in the boiling process. This is my boiling setup, just a fire and the pot propped up on 2 cinder blocks. And I received a lot of questions about if the antlers will burn or discolor. Now as you can see, I have a rag placed in between the antlers and the pot because they will discolor and they will burn if they get too hot. So that's something you're definitely going to want to pay attention to. Right after the boiling process, I usually give it a warm water, soap, and bleach bath. Take some of the stains off the antlers and the skull itself. After this, I will be soaking it in peroxide for about 24 hours. So here we are on the hydrogen peroxide soaking. Now the solution I've always used is about 60% water to 40% hydrogen peroxide, and that's the 3% variety, for about 24 hours. That has always yielded pretty good results for me. Now if you want the skull a little bit wider, then you can leave it a little bit longer. Another tip is in the soaking container, you want to make sure the water level is just above the skull itself, but just below the antlers, because it will bleach the antlers as well. So there we have it, 2 different ways that you can now preserve your hunting memories. If you have a little bit better trophy, maybe you want to go with the European skull mount. If you have a smaller trophy, maybe just a basic antler mount will work for you. Well, I'm Carlos. I hope this video helped you some, and we'll catch you next time.